Welcome back, gang. Today we're going to be building a set that I should have built a long time ago, but silly shipping took forever for it to get here. So I ordered this on release day, and I literally just got it like the beginning of last week to be able to do it this weekend. So here we go. It's going to be a little late, but I'm excited to do it. So we have Snoopy's Doghouse from the Peanuts. It is LEGO Ideas number 76. It's an 18+ set with 964 pieces, and it's set 21368. And it comes with Snoopy and Woodstock and his doghouse. So cool. Now, it did come damaged because they literally put it in a box the size of it. So it looks like something got set on top of it and smushed this one side in, but okay, whatever. We have a picture of Snoopy and Woodstock on the side on the doghouse, picture of them with a campfire scene on the top, nothing on the other side, of course nothing on the bottom. You turn it around, it has the Ideas slogan thingy steps on the side again, like usual. And then this is a 3-in-1 model for Snoopy, so you can have Snoopy standing up, Snoopy sitting down, or Snoopy laying down, and then depending on what kind of setup you want with a doghouse, or this little hid-away campfire scene that's going to be inside of the doghouse. So he can be roasting some marshmallows with Woodstock. He can be doing what's on the front here, where he is typing on his typewriter, writing his story, or he could be laying down. So, I don't know yet what way I want him. Let's open this up. See how many bags we have. We have a decent size little notebook. Then we have a picture of the LEGO version on the front. Notebook instructions, my goodness. And on the back we have a cartoon version of Snoopy with Woodstock's nest and Woodstock on top of his head. That's so cute. Alright, so before we look into that though, we have how many bags? We have 10 bags, and I don't see a sticker sheet, so I'm thinking everything's printed, which is going to be awesome. We'll find out. Bag 1, looks like we're starting off with Snoopy. And bag 2, some more Snoopy. And some yellow, so I'm assuming it's also Woodstock in there. 3 more of Woodstock and Snoopy, it looks like. And then 4 green. I'm assuming that's going to be the green glass plate. Black and number 5. That's probably going to be the backdrop for the campfire scene that goes inside the doghouse when you're not using it. 6 is some red. Oh, there is a printed piece. There's a printed Snoopy plate right there. That was 6. 7 is right here. Some more red. 8 is also some more red. 9 is more red, but it is a small amount of pieces for such a ginormous bag. And a lot of plate, or not plate, that's all tiles. Like a couple plates, but most of that in there is all tiled work. Okay. And then 10. 10 looks like it's going to be like the accessories to go with them because the typewriter's blue, so that's probably the typewriter, and there's a printed piece. Oh, that's so cool. So there's a printed plate in here. It says June 30th. It was a dark and stormy night. The way that Snoopy usually starts his stories. Oh, that's so cool. We have a small right up in the front. So first we meet the fan designer. Let me see if I can pronounce his name. Robert Becker. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia. And these are his models of Snoopy that he submitted right there. Happiness is, and then it talks about Snoopy and his origin story in the Peanuts. So how Snoopy was born at the Daisy Hills farm, and then Charlie Brown adopted him. That's so cool. And then we go into from the LEGO Ideas team, and there's some more pictures of it there. Close-up pictures of what we're going to be building, and then a cartoon picture of it, or of Snoopy and Woodstock anyway. And if you look closely, I just realized all this gray border all the way around on every page is a comic strip of Snoopy. That's so cool. But of course, these big, huge writing pages are over the top of it, so you can't read what the cartoon is about. And then you go into building it, and yes, you build Snoopy first. So, oh, and we have a little Lego Woodstock at the bottom of the page here. That's gonna go across the bottom to help us keep track of how far along we are. Oh look, that's so cute. He just keeps going. Alright, well, I am super excited to build this. It's not a lot of pieces, but I love Snoopy, so we're gonna build this and have fun today. Here it is finished. So we'll take a look at these builds like this, and then I'll show you the 3 different ways you can display this. Technically 4, because you could just display it like this, with Snoopy standing here, Woodstock, and the doghouse. But there are 3 other ways that you could display this. So we'll start off first with Snoopy, since that is how you start the build. So here's Snoopy. He's about as tall as my hand, maybe. His head is bigger than his body is, which is true to cartoon style, where his head is bigger than his body. He's just a very simple build. Thank goodness everything in here is printed, so this circular dish, it's a half circle that it has his eyes printed on both sides. And then we have his loose black collar right here, so it does actually act like a nice movable color. He is, you can tell, very much brick built. While I love the look of him, he is a little noticeably brick built, at least under the arms and stuff. And then of course we have these weird holes all over the top of his nose, which is from these plates here that have those holes to go onto longer plates. So you'd have to special make some of those half dome pieces. So I understand that, but they do kind of are a little off-putting. And then of course we have his black nose, his black ears that move. His black ears are on those little 2x2 plates that then have one of those little gray pieces stuck in the middle that can spin. And you just stick his ears on that. So then his ears can rotate in all the directions that you would want them to go. Of course they don't flip up, but can go like this. So this is being accomplished by a black minifigure head. And that right there by itself does a great job, but they felt it needed to be a little bit bigger. So we have like this black dome piece that looks like it would be like, goes on top of a minifigure head completely. So it's like a big black helmet, but it's all black, big circular dome piece. Just goes right over the top of the head. So that his nose matches the size of his body. We have no mouth. But then in the scenes that we're doing with him, his mouth doesn't need to be open in any of them. Going down, we have his paws here that don't actually have like any like hand ability, kind of like Snoopy does. They're just nice little paw pads that can go out and up in all directions. And then his little black spot on the back of his back, little black spot here, his little bitty tail, and his feet, and his body on the bottom is rounded off real nicely. And the back of his head, I forgot to mention, was also rounded with one of these big dish plates. So he has good sizing, dimension. His head can go in all directions because it's on one of those ball rackets. I just feel like these right here kind of take away from him a little bit, but he looks great. His neck is a little little skinny, but I think that's pretty accurate to the character actually. Next after Snoopy you have little Woodstock, which brings in one of these new elements. So cute. He's very tiny. He is literally, basically all of this is built on top of a 1x1 all-sided stud brick. So we have one of those 1x bars with a clip as his feet, these side clips as his wings, a tile piece here. We are using a yellow plastic fork for his tail. Then we go up here and we have another black piece and another one of those black minifigure heads. And then this one's kind of like the black nose for Snoopy, but it's not as like rounded out, but is printed for his eyes. So we put that on there. And this is the new element that comes in yellow and green in this set. He has one on the top of his head and one on the back of his head. And he's just really cute. It does a great job of representing Woodstock. It's so tiny. Next up is Snoopy's doghouse, which I feel like is done pretty well. We have a nice green base plate here, which is put together in many different sections and then all slid together. It's literally one giant green plate on the bottom. And then we have his red doghouse with tile going in certain ways to make it look like siding on both sides. Not so much on the back, but siding on both sides. And then a singular undersided stud plate up here, so it's upside down so that you can attach stuff to the top, which comes in handy for quite a few of the scenes. And then this is looking ahead, but this is just held on by 4 snots bricks, I believe. Maybe 5. But it's held on by 4 snots onto that green base plate. When you take it off, this black wall can appear. And there's more printed eye elements here. These look like little eye prints, really. They're black with the little white, but they are using them to look like stars. And this wall can just fold inward and outward, and the doghouse just sits right on top of it. And then you just snap it in place. And then, of course, we have Snoopy over the top of the doghouse. Very nice. We can take a look at the underside of this. Pop this off. I'm going to need that. Thank you very much. So if you look inside, you can kind of see the middle is just like scaffolding, and then the roof is held on by these 2 connector points. You can see the wall of black inside, just barely right inside, so it's perfect fit. And this is being held on by some wall plates that were put in upside down using those black cylinder pieces in there. You can barely see them, but I don't want to dig them out. So you'll just have to get the set and build it to find out. And then you just snap it back on. The doghouse looks great. It's cartoony-ish enough for it to be Snoopy's doghouse, where it looks realistic like Snoopy's does, but then it is obviously not really big enough for Snoopy, but it kind of works because Snoopy has so much stuff in his doghouse, you don't know what all is going on in his doghouse. The only complaint I have with the doghouse, and who knows, it may just be my set, but for some reason, while putting all of these tile pieces on the top and on the sides, there are like fingerprints and smudges all over all of them, and they were all there before I was like messing with them. Like I could see it on the table before I went to pick it up. So I'm hoping that if I just try and rub at it with a towel, they'll come off and it won't look so dirty, because it really does just look, it looks dirty. You can maybe see some of it there, really just seeing the reflection of the light. But there are so many smudges and like fingerprints. And I thought black was bad for that, but apparently the red is too. So I'm gonna have to try and see if I can get it off or something. So that's an overlook of the overall set. So now I'm gonna show you the different ways to set this up in the different scenes and how easy it really is to do it. So Woodstock doesn't change at all, so we'll just set him to the side for now. To do where Snoopy lays down on the doghouse with Woodstock on top of him, you do have to do some things to Snoopy. You have to take his head off, because if he tries to lay down like this, his head's in the way. His head doesn't go all the way down. So you pull this off, and you are left with this Technic pin. And they have you build this little piece here that can cover where this ratchet ball connector piece is, so that when he's laying down, you don't see that. And then this lovely Technic pin is going to go into that hole right there at the back of his head, so that it can lay flat. Now his tail doesn't let him lay flat, so pop his tail off. Now he can lay flat. We bring in our doghouse, move the camera up a little bit because you can't see, so sorry. Put those two studs right there. His ears automatically go down, and put Woodstock right there. So there is scene 1 with Snoopy asleep on top of his doghouse, laying on his back with his buddy Woodstock on his stomach. That is the simpler of all of them. So now we just take Woodstock off, who always likes to take this plate, I've noticed so far anyway. Pop Snoopy off. Well, that's the first time that's happened. Snoopy didn't want to leave his plate behind. The rest of them, Snoopy can have his tail on. So we're going to pop his tail back on. I'm going to fix his head, because with his head like this, he falls forward. Let's take this off, pull that plate off that we put on there, and stick it back into that ball joint. Technically, this is the last one. I'm saving my personal favorite one for last, so we're going to zoom in a little bit. This one is campfire scene. We're going to do this one before I show you my favorite one. So open this up, and you can store this inside with the doghouse, but then you can kind of see it. So then it's kind of funny, because you have a fire going in his doghouse, and I don't know if you should let that stay there or not. So you take your marshmallow sticks off of their little holders, which are just 1x1s. Put Woodstock's marshmallow stick into one of his claws that are acting as wings, so they're already equipped. So like I said, you don't have to change anything on Woodstock, which is nice. And then Snoopy's comes with a clear piece with a hook on it, with a stud that can go into his hand, like so. And you can either have Snoopy standing, or sitting down. So to do that, to change out his feet, which you have to do for the last two anyway, take his stomach off, pop his legs off, which are being held on by a single clip right there. You make these legs that can be put in there with this clip. Slide his stomach back on, and these legs are just dangly legs. Very dangly legs. And they just sit down like this. You put him onto this tile piece right here if you can. Sometimes I have difficulty getting it in. There we go. Put Put your fire in between them on a stud. And there you go. Now I get to roast marshmallows over a campfire with the sky behind them. Snoopy is a little tall for the sky, but as said, Snoopy is taller than his doghouse. So this could only be as tall as the doghouse walls. Put his piece back. Push this back in. And put this back over the top. Like so. And then for the final scene, final stage, whatever you want to call it, way to display them is my favorite way. You have this really cool and neat little typewriter build that's blue, and then it has this printed tile which says June 30th. It was a dark and stormy night, which is the way Snoopy starts pretty much all of his little writings that he does. There are 2 Technic pins in the bottom for you to attach it to the top of the doghouse. And then Snoopy gets to keep the same legs from the campfire. Can sit him right here next to it. And set him right here for Woodstock. And there you go. You have a cute little Snoopy riding on his typewriter with Woodstock on top. Very cute. So I love that there's ways to display him. I don't particularly like the fact that we have to switch his feet all the time, but I understand it would have been difficult to try on those very short legs. Give him a way to switch back and forth. Like have like a moving connection piece. So this isn't too hard to keep track of. If I probably could just stick it in the doghouse, but then you'd probably be able to see it. But there is Snoopy and his doghouse. Another thing I didn't quite understand about this set was Snoopy's movable legs. If you look at the bottom of his standing feet, and now you're far away so you may not be able to see, but they're curved on the outside and straight on the inside. But whenever you give him his moving feet, and I thought maybe I had just read the instructions wrong, so I went and double checked, but they have it the opposite way now. So now he has curved inside and straight outside, which confuses me as to why you would want his paws straight and not curved. I mean, you could just switch it. Like, is this a misprint? I feel like you would want them curved. And they don't seem to be affecting the build. He just sits there. I don't know, but for some reason they have them, and I double checked that I read it correctly. The box art and everything even shows it straight on the outside, curved on the inside when he is sitting. So very strange to me. But either way, I did very much enjoy the build of this, besides the weird smudges on my building tiles plating. The rest of it was amazing. Very much enjoyed this build. I think it looks great for the price that we got. And we got the main characters right off. Don't do that. That was a bad. Why did I even do it? You silly human being. I think it was a great price for us to be able to have a Snoopy and a Woodstock. They gave us the best characters right off the bat. Will they do more Peanuts? I don't know. It would be cool, but then I feel like if they did, they would have to be minifigures with little play sets. I don't know how well that would go over. I think this nice big display set for adults of a Snoopy figure from our childhood and our memories is a great way to have a Snoopy set. And I love the fact that everything was printed. This one, as I said, is obviously my favorite with the typewriter because I always love the scenes where Snoopy was the Red Baron and he was writing his book, and it was always on a dark and stormy night. So those ones are always so much fun. Oh, I did thoroughly enjoy the build, just I'm a little confused as to why all this was smudged when I got it. Let me know if you got this set, if it was weirdly smudged and fingerprints already on it, or if it was just my set for some reason. And then I do wish there was a way to hide these little holes around the top of his nose, but it's a great set. So I hope you all enjoyed. Go build some Lego and love God. Bye everybody!